The stego was panicking, swinging and hitting its own herd members. An inexperienced stego in their herd is always a double-edged sword. What up, dudes and dudettes? My name is Super Shiny. Thank you for joining me today. We're playing the Isle Evrima. Today we're surviving as a Dilo. I do hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please drop a like and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. Anyways, let's head on in. That's a whole lot of noise. Spawning at the West Rail axis, I head towards the highlands to find a goat for lions to start our perfect diet. Sniffing out a goat, I nearly ran headfirst into a large juvenile raptor. Luckily, they didn't see me, and after a few moments, I was able to scavenge just enough to fill out one of my diets. That raptor looks a lot bigger than I thought. I'm glad I didn't get spotted. Otherwise, I'd be helpless if I were to be pinned. Magic frogs dropped out of the sky, and I was able to fill out one of my S diet for a perfect diet. Dilos and Heras are the easiest to grow at the moment, because they are both able to hunt boar, deer, and goat for a perfect diet. Resting in a bush and waiting for a prey, there are raptors calling to one another. A juvenile respawns close by. A grave mistake. Calling out as a juvenile while you are alone will make you a beacon for trouble. Sorry, Raptor. It's a Dilo too late. GG's. Yep, keep moving. You are a very curious one, aren't you? Sometimes it's hard to see whether or not a carcass is worth contesting, especially since Dilos and Heras aren't on any other carnivore's diet list. My guess is they were deciding whether the body is a Hera or a raptor. Several minutes later, I decided to head towards the inlet. I heard a juvie Tenno screaming its head off from the west as I was resting at the raptor carcass. I don't know about you guys, but an Uwa is always deserving to be hunted. In desperation, the Tenno leaped into the river. It's not worth the risk. A tsunami is hitting the isle, and it was time to rest for the day. The next day, we find ourselves a companion. A tiny Dilo. The tiny Dilo was in need of a perfect diet to increase its growth rate to 100%. Surprisingly, I spotted something laying down in the distance, and it was somewhat medium-sized. A Carno. I gave chase to it to check its speed, and it's just fast enough to keep away. Maybe we'll ambush it, if it sticks around the South Plains. I knew the Carno would stick around. This area is plentiful of boar and deer. Also, I currently didn't know if it had a dino carcass for protection. Now was a perfect opportunity to begin the hunt. GG's. A Hera bit my companion earlier, and I had not heard it climb the tree above us during the fight. Well, back to being solo. Our companion was given another life and came back. Unfortunately, some time has passed, and the Carno body was no longer edible. Hearing a stego and some tenos, we decided to cross the river and in the direction of the highlands. Stalking our prey, we heard movement and noises. The hunt is on. The stego was panicking, swinging and hitting its own herd members. An inexperienced stego in their herd is always a double-edged sword. Oof, that was a nice hit. The poison was now setting in, and the stego was hallucinating, taking more and more damage. GG's. Fighting in the jungle and in the night was the perfect advantage. The stego had two options: the cliffs of River's Ravine or the jaws of a Dilophosaurus. The stego carcass lasted until the next morning, but like all the dinos of the Isle, we returned to the water for hydration. My companion has grown to 2/3 of my size and is now able to take part in hunting. Speaking of hunting, wanted this fight. GG's. This fight turned into a chase and it lasted over a lot longer than expected. The Carno put up a good fight, but knew once the poison set in, it was doomed. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. And as always, have a nice day. Or night, wherever you're from. Bye-bye!